of creatives in the AUC. I'm your host, Chris.
And I am your host, Wolf.
Awesome. So this podcast has been delayed actually 1 week.
Apparently.
Yeah, we had a hard time trying to get this started. We had some technical difficulties with the equipment, but we are here.
But we're here now.
For our very first episode of the podcast. How are you feeling, Wolf?
Today?
On this Wednesday.
Today is smooth. You know, I had class. It was on Zoom. I didn't have to pay much attention, you know. But I'm cool. How you doing?
Can't complain. Busy. But, you know, it could always be worse.
Or it could be better.
And it could be better. So we're just neutral.
What's the Wonder Woman thing that the guy was saying?
What?
It's like, today is good, but it could be better.
I watched that movie once, and then I just like, okay, it was cool.
It was whatever.
Yeah. So this podcast, Creative Corner, is a podcast that hosts visual and musical artists in the AUC to talk about their creative endeavors. Anything from their past, current, and upcoming projects. Creative Corner also discusses topics ranging from films or TV series to watch, maybe some music videos that are trending, and maybe even some filmmaking tricks and tips. So I am a mass media arts major concentrated in radio, television, film, emphasize on that film. What about you, Wolf?
Okay. I'm going to give y'all the full Morehouse intro. My name is Anthony J. the Wolf Hunter. I am a finance major. I'm a junior finance major from College Park, Atlanta, Georgia. And I do more than just film, but I work in marketing and all that stuff. So I'm just ready to give you guys some tips and definitely ready to, I don't know, share about what we're doing in pop culture today.
Awesome. Yeah, we both have that filmmaking background or film background. So that's kind of our strong suit here at Creative Corner. But we are looking to also open that up to not just visual mediums, but also audio.
We definitely need to talk more about, to some audio engineers, and there are a whole bunch of musicians on campus. So if you guys are in music, if you're in fashion, I know we got a whole bunch of people in fashion that are underrated. We need y'all to come onto this podcast, and we're going to break it down.
Definitely.
We're going to break it down.
Yes, so please reach out. Definitely listen first to this first episode, and if you make it to the end, you will have the chance to figure out what our information is, and definitely reach out because we would love to have more creatives on this podcast. So today, our special guest.
No. Don't please, just call him a creative.
Please. Why don't you give me the formal intro?
No. Don't just call him a creative. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the founder of Marley Entertainment. This is Kimarley Henry in the building today, and you guys are going to enjoy this interview. Wow,
that was quite the opener. Full disclosure, Wolf does know Kimarley, but why don't we get the official? Why don't you tell us who you are, Kimarley? Go ahead, take it away.
What's going on, everyone? As you know, my name is Kimarley Henry. I'm a sophomore at the illustrious Morehouse College. First semester on campus. Been loving it so far for the most part, and yeah, happy to be here.
All right, wonderful. So, Marley, I already kind of gave a little, but I didn't tell them what you do. So what do you actually do?
So I am a cartoonist. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember, as long as I can walk, really. Used to use up all the paper in the house when I was like 4 years old. Nobody had anything to print with or anything. And ever since then, I've just always wanted to create my own comic books, my own films one day. And right now, I'm just on a journey to making it happen, you know?
Okay, so you say you're on the journey to making it happen. Is there any, I don't know, particular landmark or special occasion coming up in the Marley Entertainment sphere?
Oh yeah, so So on November 11th is the release of my first book, Chad Against the World. It is the first volume of my Chad comic series that's been running in newspapers since June 2019. And I'm just happy to share it with you guys and share it with the rest of the world.
Cool. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the background of Chad? Who is Chad, and what was the steps into making this Chad?
Okay, so to give some background, growing up, I loved reading books like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Big Nate, and Peanuts, and that was all I would like read back in middle school. And one day I was just in my 7th grade science class. I remember it was like November 2014, and teacher was, talking, doing their thing, and I'm over here just sketching on the back of my worksheet. And then I just draw this character, with the black fade and the green shirt, black pants, and it's just him. And I'm like, this is interesting. So I just kept it running, and I just kept making those own like comics to myself. I would share them with my classmates, even get them confiscated every now and then. I was quite the rebel at the time, but I continued doing that for the next few years. I did end up going to a performing arts high school, and that was where I think I got the push to start sharing it with people, from classmates and teachers. But I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous with taking that first step, because it's like, what are people gonna think of it? How are they gonna perceive this creation? But then in my junior year, I said, you know what, bump all that. I took that step, and I got it published in the Bloomfield, Connecticut newspapers. And the editor just liked what he saw, and to this day, the rest is history.
That's very inspiring. I think it takes a lot for someone to continue a passion and hold on to it for a very long time from an early beginning. Would you say that this Chad is someone that resembles you? That was my phone. Let me remind us all that this is our first podcast, so I'm gonna take the time to silence my phone. But this Chad character of yours, is this someone that is maybe influenced by you, that has certain characteristics that is like you, or is this someone that kind of just has an open personality that can be influenced by anyone or anything?
To be honest, it's a little bit of both. There are traits of mine that I did incorporate into the character. Like me, he's somebody that doesn't like to go by the rules. He does do his own thing, and that can get him in trouble a lot of the time, whether it's by teachers or, his parents or even his friends. And it's this need to, like, stand apart from the rest of the crowd.
I can dig it. So you've been doing this cartoon for 2 years now. You have more characters than just Chad. Can you talk to us a little bit about the Chad family and how the people in your life have kind of inspired all of the characters that you've created?
Oh, yeah. So you got Chad, his little sister Jasmine. She is an aspiring poet and writer. And you have his older brother Andrew, who he's a bit of a wild card. He isn't really sure what he wants to do just yet, but as you can see in the current story arc, he's on a path to finding that out, and find out what it is he wants to do, how he wants to give back to the world. Even though at the beginning it wasn't always that way. And then you have his parents, his mom Christine and his dad Daryl. Both very supporting of their children, and they just want to see the best for all 3 kids.
All right, cool. So you have other characters like with Eric.
Eric, his best friend. You got Naomi, the new student at the school. They go to, by the way, they attend Brooksford Arts Academy, which is inspired by the Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts, where I attended high school. And a lot of inspiration did come from my experiences there and the people that I met.
I'm just remembering because he's told me some stories from the cats in high school that he inspired some they inspired some characters.
Yeah.
I know. If we like talking about Naomi, that's one of our favorite characters. But she's one of the Jamaican characters
Yep.
in the strip. So how is your Jamaican heritage influenced the Chad comic strip over the years?
I would say it's really just the traditions that we have, as well as the many different friends I had from Jamaica, as well as the ones I had living in my neighborhood. And the experiences that we would have and the places we would go, the conversations we would have are very much inspiration for the conversations that Naomi, Eric, and Chad will have, in their day-to-day lives.
I've noticed that you've been trying to get some of your cartoons or comic strips onto the newspaper. So you have some prior background before even coming to the student newspaper. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that success or being, published in a newspaper?
Yeah, so as I told you, I'm published in 3 newspapers in Connecticut, Bloomfield, Windsor, and Windsor Locks. And also every week they're uploaded onto my website as well, marleyentertainment.com. And at first it was mainly those 3 newspapers. And I would say I just did it the first time. I wasn't even sure if that would be the only time, if I would continue doing it. But then the editor, he got back to me. He said, people like this. He's been getting some feedback from a few people in the community that is something they'd like to show more of. So 2 weeks later, I published another one, and ever since then, it has been nonstop, train going ever since. And I would say right now, it's really me bringing it to a bigger platform to bring it to more eyes, essentially. And yeah.
So I think a few things that you and I have discussed in our past are some things that we need to share with our audience today. Who is the audience that Chad is really? Who are you speaking to in the world? And what would you like to say to them? Are you trying to inspire them? What's the mission here? And who are you speaking to?
I would say that I'm really speaking to everyone in a sense, but particularly young black kids who are creatives. That it's cool, be different, be who you are, because that's your given trait. Man, I can't speak today, but yeah, like that's what you were born to do, and you have that you were born with that gift. Why would you not want to share that gift with others? Why would you not want to embrace that gift? You know what I'm saying? And for all of us, that's different. I would say you should never stop sharing it with the world, and never stop because of what some people might say or how you feel like it might be received. So that's what I'm trying to say.
So on that note of always continuing a passion and just keeping the train going, have you always had this idea that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, or is this something that you are very interested in now and are open to maybe other kinds of avenues of visual arts?
So I always knew that I loved to draw. I always knew that I wanted to become like a filmmaker one day, in animation particularly. Because as I said, I grew up watching a lot of like series on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. SpongeBob was always the GOAT, by the way. And Yeah, I always knew that I loved it, but it's really like now where I'm questioning, could I live without it? Could I live like not doing it? And then I find that the answer is always most of the time no. Like there's no way I couldn't do this, you know? So I would say like that's very affirming.
So can we talk a little bit, because I know we're a little pressed for time. Can we get into the future of Marley Entertainment? I know that you've mentioned doing animated projects in the future. So can you speak a little bit more to what you'd like to see for the future of Marley Entertainment and the Chad franchise?
So without giving too much away, you're gonna see Chad animated one day. It's not always just gonna be a comic. As well as other projects as well that will be animated. There will be other comic series in the future, and I see television series, film series, and Marley Entertainment is just it's not gonna be as monolithic as I would say as it is right now. So
I do have a quick question that kind of comes to mind in terms of black creators who are up and coming. Have you heard of the Black Sands Entertainment
yes, I
people?
have.
Let me get your thoughts on them, because they are someone, who started from the ground up and who continued their passions and has really, really come out on top. I would like to ask, your opinion on them, because they are someone that are, kind of, I would say, along the same lines, starting at an early stage and, slowly but surely making their way to the top.
Right.
Be nice, I invested in them.
They're an inspiration in a sense because, like you said, we have very much the same beginnings, and I do look at them as like, how could I, not to compare, but as like kind of reference points as how could I do it, but do it my way. How can I get to that point? Because you can never, and it's really all about learning too. You can never learn too much. That's what I've always heard. So you should never undervalue like the importance of learning and hearing from other perspectives.
On that note, you've been doing these cartoons by yourself, the strips by yourself for these last few years. But obviously, you're building up a team, you're networking, you're casting, right, for the animated projects, and the vision is coming closer and closer and closer and closer and closer together. Just like how the Black Sands project is right now, going public and taking investors. I just want to say, man, I really commend you for the growth that you've had, especially since you've come to the AUC. And what has it been like being in the AUC and networking with people and actually making an empire out of what you started when you were back in high school?
It's a little cathartic in a sense. Like it's just it's an amazing feeling, especially since we did lose out on a year because of a little something going on in the world. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be here, and it's cathartic in the sense that I always wanted to be in this place, but now that you're here and you see like all those steps that you had to take to get there, where you're coming from, it's exciting, especially to see like where you're going to be next, and to do it with not just yourself but with others.
Wow, very, very inspirational. This is why I love the AEC. I'm a Clark Atlanta University student. I'm from San Diego, came from a community college, graduated my associates, and sounds a bit corny, but I felt like I just got here to Clark through destiny, because I applied to like 2 universities, which was this one and like San Diego State, and I didn't get into state. During the pandemic, they gave me another opportunity to send my application to another school. I sent it to Humboldt State, and I could have gone there, but I don't know, something about the AUC, something about Atlanta, is just I had a feeling like this is what it really is about out here. Community, about creatives out here who are, willing to put their passions first and spread the news everywhere to see who is looking to collaborate. So I appreciate your time here, Kimarley, and dropping some words of wisdom through your experiences with your cartoon, with your illustrations. I know I'm still a bit unsure of the title, but I do want to get it right. So why don't you tell us one more time who you are and where we can find you and all of the stuff that you have coming up in the next few weeks.
All right, so once again, my name is Kimarley Henry. You can find me on marley.entertainment on Instagram. You will see the links for the Chad Instagram page on there. I'm also on Facebook as Marley Entertainment, and you got marleyentertainment.com, the website, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to our first episode of the Creative Corner.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to use this time to play a song while we get it together over here and transition onto our next segment. So Wolf, what should we play for this short break?
Oh man. Oh, you already know. We got to do my theme song, Street Fighter Mask by Kamasi Washington. Let's kick it. All right, okay, all right, okay. Come on. We are back. Once again, my name is Anthony J. The Wolf Hunter, and I'm with
Chris. It's just Chris.
It's just Chris.
Yeah, that's literally what it says on my birth certificate.
Everybody hates Chris.
But it was Christopher.
But
I'm just Chris.
All right, okay, all right. Look, I reintroduced myself because my name is Anthony, and we're going to be talking about Candyman today. So, if you haven't already watched it, watch the freaking movie. Watch both of the movies. Watch the one from what, 1991?
92? 92.
91, 92. And then watch Candyman 2021.
Yeah, you don't have to watch like Candyman 2 and then Candyman 3. Those are like...
Right, just watch the first ones. Just watch the first ones. But if you haven't seen Candyman, like Candyman 2021 has Candyman 1991 or 2 in it, so you can't just separate the two.
I'm gonna fact check right now.
Yeah, go ahead and fact check.
I feel like it's 92. I'm pretty sure.
Go ahead. That's why I said 91, 92. Because when I looked it up, I saw 91.
Okay.
But
I could be wrong.
I have a terrible memory, so I could just be literally fantasy. You know what? Let me get started while he's going in. So we're gonna start off with what we liked about the. I love that the main character's name was Anthony, and that he was a tall, dark, and handsome black artist, and he is finding himself. I just love that because it speaks to my life. Oh, it's so relatable. But
it was 92.
Huh?
It was 92.
It was 92?
Yeah.
Look at you. You're the GOAT.
I thought so.
But okay, so really, the opening credit scene, like the cinematography in this movie literally had me just melting in my bed and my chair when I watched it in 2 different locations. Yes. Go ahead. Say your favorite
I loved
thing.
it. I definitely loved how creative it was and how they played with the visual aspect of the film. Yes, the cinematography was it was so good. I loved it, especially with like the Dutch angles of like the buildings, those transitions. Those were so good, so good. I love that. Like, I don't know. I have an obsession with lines and like geometric shapes.
Right.
So that it tickled me the right way.
But the mirror imagery, you know, the way that they were just using that, it was like, you know what? You could have a reflection in a mirror, you could have a reflection in glass, you could have a reflection in your glasses, like literally. And we're going to, and as you spoke about, it is literally a creative masterpiece. Like they said, you know what? We're going to take this concept and then we're literally just going to have fun with it and break it down in every single way that we can think about it. And
they really did have fun with that.
They really did.
I think the coolest and creative thing that I saw was how they used like a puppet artist in the film. Like I never seen nothing like that in a film or me. I don't know.
Animation. You would have seen it. You would have seen it in something like Who Killed Roger Rabbit.
Right.
Like something, but you have puppeteers in this case where we're not animating, we're not filling that space with anything. We're actually rotoscoping and putting that stuff back into the image, taking out the puppet artist, and then putting back the actual location, the background. But the way that they were dragging people around, picking them up, literally manipulating them, and the art, like the work, the visual effects work that went into that, beautiful. But they integrated it seamlessly. Like they go from one mirror to another mirror, and you have the angle switches. You have a one take going on with different shots being taken of the antagonist, of Candyman, moving through the scene in different mediums, different reflections, but still focusing on this one take of the character that's being brutalized and mutilated. It's fantastic.
Yeah, like I just could not get my eyes off of the screen on those like very intense moments of the film. We said spoiler alert, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We definitely told
Well,
them,
spoiler
hey,
alert
stop
again,
it.
just in case. This is your final warning, because we didn't ruin any plot points, really.
Not
like,
really.
Of course, Candyman's gonna kill people.
Like it's a horror movie. Come on.
Yeah.
Get your life right.
But I think if I were to think what my favorite scene in that, I would probably have to say the end. The ending where it reveals like the original Candyman's face.
Right.
Because it was just like so nostalgic.
Yo.
Like Candyman was the first scary film I ever watched.
Really?
And it scared me. Like
It
was, wow, I can't believe, because it's like a psychological thriller horror on top of like a regular horror film. Like in the first original Candyman, 1992, there's only about like 2-3 deaths in the whole entire movie.
That's
And-
the slow burn. That
Yeah.
really, like built up tension. Like we knew it was coming, but when was the question? And we waited and we waited and we waited and we got it. But this movie just went in, like it literally. This movie, and we were talking about this because we're going to talk about the historical context of this film. This movie basically said everything that black people have been saying about this movie. It's like, look, the first movie was all about the white saviorism and this, that, and the other. In this movie, it said, nah, white folks, take your stuff and get out. And and it literally just, oh gosh, I'm not gonna, I can't talk more about it because that's a little too morbid for the cast. But it definitely took all of the things. It was like, look, take your white saviorism and get out of here. Nobody wants it. Take your police officers trying to frame a story and do whatever and get out of here. Look, our legends are our legends, and they are bigger than you. And you cannot appropriate them because they're too much. They will overwhelm you because you cannot comprehend. So this movie really spoke for the culture, as brutal and morbid as it was.
It was, every little detail was so good. I love paying attention to the little details, and it was so good throughout. I love the comedy. The comedy hit every single time. Oh.
You know what? My favorite scene was when they actually went with the puppets. The puppet scene where they were telling the story of how these figures in the past were brutalized, lynched, hung, burned. It was just really artistic to see this white background with these black puppets. Kid riding his bike, a man passing out candy, and they were telling this story, and I was, as an artist, I just felt fulfilled watching it. I was like, see, this is what I want to do in my films. It's just take every single medium, take every single skill that I have within myself and integrate it into my films. And so that really spoke to me when they started doing the puppeteering and telling the story through that medium.
That mastery of like puppetry, what I got out of it was like that less is more, because there was, it was just black and white, you know. I mean, the light was maybe like some type of like off-white color, but like
they did it on
there
a
was only
projector.
two colors. Two
like
colors
thing,
in the minimal, you know, aspect of it gave it so much more meaning. It was way more intense. When the guy from the laundromat kind of like narrated that part of the film, he delivered it like really well, that I just kept watching, and it really hit me at a deeper level, where I kind of thought this film was like no longer about Candyman at this like point of the film. It was now more historical and more like
it was
rooted in kind of racism, pretty much, and how people were being treated. That was kind of just overlooked, and this is why, you know, Candyman was kind of created.
If you watch the first Candyman, it's literally, I don't even remember the lady's name, but it's a white lady going through and investigating black neighborhoods and trying to find a story that she can get publicity off of. And she is literally trying to take our culture, take our history, take this blockbusted area, this destroyed, underdeveloped area that was handed to us, a ghetto that was handed to us that we didn't want, that did not love us. She was trying to make a story out of this. She was trying to profit off of our pain, and in the original, she's still the hero at the end of the day, saving her black friend. She is still looked at like, oh, she saved the baby and da 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 da. No, just no. And this movie literally took that. This movie said, this is the narration, that this white woman, she what was it originally, was that she came out of the fire, or she took the baby.
Yeah, in this
baby,
version of Candyman, they
brought it into the fire.
Labeled her as kind of, she was the murderer. She was the psycho killer. Right.
And so it said, you know, we're doing away with the white saviorism at the start of the story. And they amend that story later on in the film, but it at least started off like, you know, this person is not necessarily the savior of everybody. Like, the community contributed to solving the issues, but at the end of the day, there was this white lady coming around that was here for no really good reason, that was beneficial to the community.
She was just trying to get a grade.
She was just trying to get a quick buck off of us. But the way that they amended it later didn't necessarily. She's more of a neutral figure than a negative figure in the actual timeline. But I felt like, and I feel like others who I've discussed the film with over time feel like it's better to at least acknowledge this person really did nothing for us. She wasn't a savior. She wasn't a demon. She was just a person that was trying to capitalize off of us. And the beautiful thing about the new one is that we're focusing on an art curator and an artist, and these two are making things for themselves. They are being inspired for themselves. They have literally made a life for themselves. They're not appropriating anybody else's culture or art or lore or mythology to get there. We are Black creatives and we're doing it ourselves. And that's one of the things that's one of the things that's shifting, is that we are having more and more autonomy in these creative fields. Not just, with music, but with paintings and with sculpting. And the closer we get to letting African style sculptures into this country and around the world, and we're actually getting paid and compensated for it, yes, I'm all for it.
Yeah. One thing I do wish is I wish I would have looked further into who was this puppet master, because it was amazing, and I would love to look into more of that person's work. Going back and forth with the OG 1992 film and this film, I was thinking it was a remake. Before I watched it, I thought it was a remake. But when I finished watching, I'm like, yo.
It's a continuation.
Yeah, he's the kid that got away. And, who would have thought, like, he would be summoning Candyman? But,
on some G stuff, though.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm sorry. That got me so hyped when I found that out.
I was like, no, when he was at his mom's and his mom like revealed it to him, and he was just like, he was out of words. He couldn't say shit because like this was his destiny. Like he couldn't change it.
He was speechless. You know what?
I loved it a lot.
You know what killed me? Having to look at his hand the whole movie. Just watch his arm just rot and deteriorate.
That detail of, it was very gory.
It was, he was picking at it. He like, look, y'all, if you're allergic to bees and you get stung, go to the hospital. Just go to the that literally, it's hard to gross me out, but that really seeing that and picking at the scab, and that took me out.
Yeah.
That took me out, and I was like, I know what's going to happen. Anthony, why aren't you doing better? That's honestly, you got a rep for the gang.
Yeah, I've seen my fair share of skin, just like gone because of like road rash and all this stuff, and it doesn't look as close to that as it does in real life. It was really just. And it like the way it like went all the way up to
all the way up, and he was like blinded. But this actually speaks back to the imagery that we got in the first film. Was when Candyman was in this half human, half necromancer state where the bees were coming out of his skin, and he had the holes in his body,
right?
And they could literally burrow into him, and his eye was white. It was gray and cloudy. It speaks to the transformation.
Dude, fun fact, he actually in the OG film, he actually put bees in his mouth. I was like, what? How did they do that? And like, props for him for putting bees in his mouth.
That's some G stuff.
Yeah, that's some G. He was a G.
He went hard. But okay, so let's actually be a little more practical. Like, I think I know we talked about the puppeteering with the black and white screen. I know that I talked about the one take, the attack in the gallery. Let's break down one of these scenes and give our insight on how a young filmmaker could actually recreate something like that.
Okay.
So which one would you like to go into? Which scene would you like to? It doesn't have to be the ones that I just listed. It could be the last one in the car, or doing the reflection. Doing the one take around the car and showing the mirror reflection changing from Candyman to Candyman. Just pick a scene. We'll go for it.
That's a hard one because like every like visual effect shot was motivated, it was intentional, and they executed it just right. Especially like when the owner of the art exhibit was like murdered with his girlfriend. Like
That scene was
that
outstanding.
wow, like the first thing that I thought when they shot it is they must have had that mechanical arm to like shoot like the same exact scene like maybe twice.
Oh no,
with like a green with like the person in green. Probably.
You know they had to do
They
that.
definitely had
more
like
than twice.
a person like in a green suit like dragging the guy, and they must have had like the that mechanical arm to like film it like with the camera on it, because that when that scene happened, it reminded me of The Invisible Man that came out like last year, I believe, or earlier this year.
That was like 2019.
Was it The Invisible Man?
I feel like it was 2019, 2020. 2020.
2020. Last year. Yeah, and like I saw the BTS of it, and that's what they literally did. They had like a guy, or maybe not in a green suit, but in a blue suit, and they
It
had
depends
them
on the screen, the green screen that they're using.
right. But they had the mechanical arm to like
do you
that.
do visual effects?
Yeah, but like for like music videos.
Okay. After you finish your breakdown, I'll kind of go into a little more detail so we can get into it. But finish your thought.
I feel like that's what they would have done on that kill scene in the art studio or the exhibit place, where because they dragged him from the doors, the double glass doors, all the way to the back of the art exhibit, and I felt like they must have had an arm thing with a camera on it, and finished them off with like a dude in a blue suit or a green suit, so they could just key him out and it would look invisible. But I don't know, all these scenes were deliberate and just executed perfectly at a professional level, that even then I would say that maybe something that a young student filmmaker could try for themselves is like the puppetry involved in this film. But even then, like the person involved in this film who did that was phenomenal. Having these puppets, like they had distinguishable body parts, but it was still kind of cartoonish, but still grounded in reality.
Oh, you're going into the second.
The puppetry stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Let's
that's
talk
what I would say.
Let's talk about the studio scene first.
Yeah, I couldn't really honestly say where a student filmmaker could try attempting something in this film or like recreate it. What do you think could be recreated?
But that's the problem. That the mindset of we can't do it is what keeps students from actually trying to. Right. So we need to break down what we can do. This is definitely a top tier, hard on the easy, medium, hard scale. Like it's definitely it's high up there, and you definitely need a lot of skill in rotoscoping, and you would definitely need the equipment to support that. And I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it's the automated
like hardware or software.
No, the automated jib arm that they use when they're moving the moving the camera through the scene.
That's some fancy word.
It's some fancy word.
Name for
while
like
I'm talking,
inexpensive.
Can you look that up?
I feel like it. I mean,
Anyway.
I've never looked it up for myself, but I know it's like tens of thousands of dollars just to rent this like type of equipment, which is like, I mean, hey, Clark, Atlanta, if I'm sure y'all have money, why don't y'all?
Motion control. Oh, that's
motion control
so it's
arm.
a motion. So you need a motion control rig.
Clark, Atlanta, y'all need a motion control rig.
So you need a motion control rig to do this and to do it seamlessly. But there are a few things that you guys can definitely work on. So there are a lot of reflections. There are a lot of mirrors used in that scene in the studio, and they basically have to key out the camera. But there's one shot where the gallery owner and his intern, it's not his girlfriend, it's his intern. He is grooming her.
Significant other.
He's grooming her. But so they summon Candyman. He doesn't initially appear, but when they move off screen, we see him appear in the background. But the camera is in such an angle where you know that they had to either key it out or they had to key it out, or they took a reflection of it so that they from another angle, which can be done. So there are two different ways to remove the camera if you're doing a mirror shot, where if you have the camera dead on looking at the actors in the mirror, you will have to rotoscope that out. But there is another trick that you can use where you have one mirror at a 45-degree angle to the other mirror, and then you shoot on that mirror, and then you're capturing the actor's reflection in that mirror through another mirror. So it's a little technical, but I think if this podcast ever gets like a video version, like we do like an animatic or something, we'll definitely draw it out. But you have two mirrors. One is at 45 degree angle. You point the camera at that mirror, and then you record the content. You record the reflection within the other mirror. On the bit of the, let's see, because they cut the projector screen, but there was no character.
I feel like the projector screen was like CGI.
You thought it was CGI?
Fake because the way it fell. The way the projector screen fell was like too like there was no like
there is
extra
a
bounce or
there
anything
is a practical
after
way,
it fell.
There is a practical way for them to do that and do that themselves, is to actually to pre-cut a screen and then to kind of do light shows for it and have somebody behind the screen cutting it, or have a string attached to it where they can pull it with a certain amount of force that kind of rips it. But it has to be clean. It has to look clean, right? Like somebody is cutting it with a knife or, I don't know, a hook. And so somebody can do that, and that would also require some rotoscoping skills as well to do such a clean cut. As there's a lot of cutting out and pasting back in this film, but to speak back on the the movement, the manipulation of these characters while they're being viciously brutalized, there is probably a guy in a green suit or a blue suit, depending on whatever green screen they're using, that is dragging them along, that is picking them up. They might even have they probably had wires on them to help assist.
Yeah.
So if you do have like a crane or a light scaffold with some wiring, you guys can definitely do that. It's not really recommended because it's going to require a whole lot of work. There are other ways where you can manipulate people, like doing, like putting a harness around somebody and pulling them with a rope. Yeah. But the key thing is to be safe when you're doing these scenes. So definitely, if you don't know what you're doing with wire works, I would refrain from doing that. But just make sure that if you're throwing actors around, please use padding. Make sure that they're comfortable with the work. Make sure that you rehearse, and even get a stunt double who's more familiar with the choreography.
No, come on. Now, do you think a student could get a stunt double?
Oh, definitely. There are a whole bunch of. I grew up in gymnastics. I've been doing stunts my entire life. And so there are definitely people who are more willing, and now that we are adults, 18 and up, and we can sign a consent form, we can sign a release, right? Make sure that you have insurance and all of that, but do what you can, but do it safely, right? And that's really all that matters. If you have somebody that can do a trick, let them do it, but let them do it safely, right? Yeah. That's why I say have padding, have all of those things, and have those protections. But if we're going to speak towards the puppetry scene, because I know that's definitely more accessible for us, it was literally just cardboard cutouts or stock paper. Yeah, it was like stock paper, black stock paper, cut out in the shape of these characters, and they use those little wires to make ligaments for the puppets, and then they attached wires to the paper, to the stock paper.
Some had wires, some had just like straight up like stick to paper.
Right,
it was
exactly.
Just completely solid.
It was like the main body was typically attached to a stick, and then any ligaments like the arms or the legs, even the head might move from a thin metal wire. which you could do if you took apart a metal hanger, or if it was really small, you could kind of sear
Maybe like a
some
clip.
paper clips together.
I love that how they worked with this puppet master.
The creative department went crazy.
They worked with them rather than like
Against
trying to direct him to be like, hey, we need to make this like look a certain way. Like I felt like they came to this person and they let them do what they do best.
And this is a $25 million budget. Well, $25 million budget. It says 30 here, but when I first Googled it, it said 25. But that's actually really cheap for movies nowadays.
Yeah.
And you have to think.
And it was like, what, hour and a half regular?
Yeah, exactly. It was 90 minutes. They saved a lot of time. Like a lot of people, you know, they like, oh, I want to make, you know, a Scorsese film, and it's going to be 2-3 hours. And Dog, if you're gonna pitch a movie to somebody, 90 minutes, like, wow. 90 minutes is the joint.
That's
and then,
pretty good, like considering. Wow,
that's what I'm saying. And they saved money. Like they didn't have to rebuild the set and get all of the actors on set for a flashback scene, but they just used the puppets to tell the story. So they saved. Do you know how many millions of dollars they saved just doing that puppet scene and doing multiple puppet scenes?
Yeah,
you know how much money they saved?
Like
and how much time for production,
doing all that, adding,
that's crazy. They literally like budgeting your time.
It did not take away the value of the film, though.
It added.
Yeah,
it gave and it gave.
Wow.
What is it that they say today? They understood the assignment. Yeah, they did that.
Facts.
Our generation.
Facts. Yeah, I'm just surprised how great it came out, and like realizing that moment where like, wow, this isn't a sequel, or this isn't a
reboot.
It
wasn't a reboot, yeah.
Because
this is just like Halloween. This is just like Halloween 2020. Or Halloween 2019. One of those.
That's a sequel technically, right?
It is a sequel.
Because he still ain't dead.
He still ain't dead.
And she still after him.
The story of Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
Are you gonna see Halloween Kills?
Probably.
Most likely.
I think so.
They gave us They were giving out beanies in front of our cafeteria yesterday.
Ooh.
It's interesting, but
That's
I gave
cool.
it to my roommate. Halloween Kills. I'll watch it.
I'll watch it. I'm a big drive-in person, so like, like I'll probably like pay a ticket to go watch a movie and then go watch it like on a different screen after that.
Wait, so okay, we got distracted. Are we done talking about Candyman? Or
I think so.
Okay.
That was. I think we covered all the topics we definitely wanted to talk about.
Where are we going to be releasing this? Because I definitely love to get input from our audience on what they thought of the movie and some practical tips that they could actually offer to the community. You know.
Yeah, when
it comes to producing these things,
we might have to just post this somewhere
Spotify,
on our own. Yeah. Something like that.
The best thing about this podcast is that we really want to help creatives get their stuff out. And we really want to help them get it made. So let's build this community. Let's contribute to one another. Let's create these beneficial and familial bonds and relationships, and definitely, you know, grow.
Yeah. If you are in the AUC, please reach out to us. If you know someone who is looking to get exposure, this is absolutely free. We're not charging anyone to get onto this platform, onto this podcast, and we're willing to just give you your plug time, you know, to talk about whatever it is you're working on, and as long as you let us pick your brain and see what's going on with your life, we are here for it. I think that's it for this episode.
Por cabeza.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Any last words from you, Wolf?
Come on, man. You know we have to close it out the right way. Come on now. Look, once again, my name is Anthony J. The Wolf Hunter. I'm a junior finance major over at Morehouse College, and I appreciate you guys for being here on the podcast. Make sure that if you have an idea, if you have a dream, vision board it, storyboard it, draw it out, write it out, do something with it, develop it, build it. Try it once, try again, get better every single time that you do it. All right? Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. Don't let yourself convince you that you shouldn't be doing that. Like, if it's fulfilling for you, do it. Go for it. And you will reap the benefits.
That's
Come
exactly
on
what
now.
we needed.
Come on now. Do your whole interview again. Come on. Do your whole
All
intro
right.
again.
Look, I'm not a big person like that. I don't usually have that energy unless I'm like in a set, making my short films or whatever on someone else's set, making films. But it's just Chris. It's just Chris. I'm out here in the A, filmmaker, trying to make it to film festivals. I got some stuff on the way. I think we'll have time to talk about it on the next episode. I let my work speak for itself.
All right.
So you can find me on Instagram at _Chris_.
Damn, it is just Chris.
It's just Chris.
Dang.
That's me, man. It's just Chris. I'll let the work speak for itself. Where can we find you, Wolf?
Shameless plug. Okay. You guys can find me on Instagram at Okami_AJ. That is OKAMI_AJ. Once again, OKAMI_AJ on Instagram. I'd appreciate a follow. I'm trying to get 2,000 follows by the end of this semester.
Damn, I don't even have 1,000 yet.
Help me out.
Do you think? All
Help
right.
me out. I need just over 400 followers. Kick it
Dang.
with me.
Hit him up. You know us now. You got our info. Reach out to us if anything. This is the Creative Corner, and I appreciate you for tuning in. See you on the next one.
Deuces.